And we are live! Hello everybody and welcome to this week's stream. So today we are going to be looking at, is Boost Mobile Repairs any good? They sell refurbished phones. This here is a refurbished iPhone SE 2020 that I have purchased, and today we're going to be looking at, is their refurbishing high quality? Do they use genuine parts? What's going on with it? Now, one thing I do want to note is that at Quick Tech Repair, we do offer refurbished devices, so there may be a conflict of interest there. However, I'm going to attempt to be as unbiased as possible and give a recommendation as to whether I would buy from Boost Mobile Refurbished at the end of the video. Stream. So, let's get right to it, shall we? I actually do have a slight confession. This iPhone SE has been opened already. Take the paperwork out. It is not fresh in the packaging because I have actually been using this phone as a secondary device. That is the reason I bought it, and I will probably remain using it as a secondary device after repairing it. And yes, I will have to do a repair on it right out of the box before I can consider actually using it. Now, so first of all, to unbox it, I learned that you gotta take it out, then fold these pieces up, and then it just comes out. Now, I want to confirm that when I got this device, I'm not sure if you can tell, when I got this device, it was in 100% pristine condition. There was not a single scratch or mark anywhere on it. The only singular mark, there was a single chip on the paint outside of the camera ring. I'll see if I can get it up there. Yeah, you can slightly see that chip there. That was the only mark. Every other mark was caused by me. So there is not a single issue with this device. Jasper says, "You are Knuff." I have not seen the Barbie movie. However, I know that you are Knuff meme at this point. So yes, it does have my dog on the background because this is my phone. It came completely flat out of the box. I'm not sure how common that is. And of course, other things that were included. This SIM ejector tool, which I guess is a SIM ejector tool, whatever. And then a cheap, crappy charger, which I would not personally plug into my phone. I would absolutely not trust this in my phone. Yeah. I feel like if I plugged this into my wall, I would be on a one-way ticket to exploding the house. So that's going to stay in the box. I do not trust the cheap chargers. Also, this cable was a genuine lightning cable. Gotta have them somewhere around here. Yeah, here's a genuine lightning cable. Okay, this is actually surprisingly common. This third-party cable and the genuine lightning cable are slightly different thicknesses. As you can see, the third-party one on the right is thicker than the genuine Apple one. And you may think, oh, that's not a big deal. Actually, it is, because holy crap, that's a lot of URKNFs. But basically, when the cable is thicker like that, it will slowly stretch the port over time, and then you'll need a charging port replacement, which is not a fun repair to do at all. So I would definitely not plug this cable into my phone. I would be spending the $30 to get a genuine Apple cable. I always use the genuine Apple cables. They are just so much better. Also, this one's USB-C, which is a nice bonus. And that's pretty much all that comes in the box. I mean, they point out that it has a 72-point inspection and testing, 12-month warranty, and it's a genuine device. That's pretty nice. anything else on the box. Now they're talking about what Boost is. So it's Allegre are the people who do the repair. So yeah, this is the one I got. It's a red refurbished iPhone SE 2020. The reason I chose this iPhone SE 2020 is because it is the cheapest device that runs iOS 17. And comparing that to my most expensive iPhone that Apple sells, the 14 Pro Max 1TB with AppleCare, the cheapest iPhone, it's very different. The experience is very different on those. Like, yes, the SE gives you 90% of an iPhone, but the it's not worth the 14 Pro Max. 14 Pro Max is not worth $3,000, but there's a good middle ground somewhere in there that you'll have to find yourself. It's not the cheapest, not the most expensive. Neither of those two are the best value, but I do have both of these. I plan to move to this phone entirely and sell the 14 Pro Max till the 15 Pro Max comes out. Let's get as many 15 Pro Maxes as possible. Anyway, this phone is ready to be taken apart now. Let's see. Well, the first thing before anything is I want to check, because the display was so new, I feel like they replaced it. I want to check if they retained True Tone or not. They did in fact retain True Tone on this phone, and it was on by default. And I appreciate that very, very much. Because when you do a screen replacement, sometimes you lose True Tone if you don't do it correctly. If you don't have the screen programmer. Now, will most people care about True Tone, especially the type of people buying this device? Absolutely not. If you're buying the cheapest iPhone that can run iOS 17, I doubt you will care about True Tone. However, it is nice to see that the repairers are actually taking care to do things the correct way. Now, what about the battery health? Let's see, battery health. Whoa, okay. I mean, it's on 83% health, which is slightly concerning. Personally, I would not like a phone to be on 83% health. That is the thing that I said I'm gonna have to fix before I can use this as a daily driver. Now, since it has the A13 chip, yes, you will get that annoying pop-up saying, oh, not genuine battery, even if you put a genuine battery in there. But this phone has multiple times, even though it's above 80%, multiple times, this phone has shut down and said it's flat while it's on, and not at 0%, which means the battery is due for replacement. Makes sense, it's on 83%. They probably didn't even replace it because the phone came out in 2020, so 83% would be about normal degradation for a 3-year-old battery. So, it says the device is performing normally, but I'm definitely going to replace this battery. So, now let's turn off this phone and see what we can inspect by opening it. So my estimate is they haven't replaced anything. This phone is just a used phone, and there is nothing that has been repaired in it. Because, well, the battery hasn't been replaced. The screen probably hasn't been replaced because it's still got True Tone. Yeah, okay, the phone's off now. So let's just grab our SIM ejector tool. You gotta remove the SIM card tray, even though there's no SIM in it. And now let's get to opening the phone up. So, I'm going to follow iFix's guide here. First, I'm going to use the P2 to remove the pentalobe screws at the bottom. And now we're going to use the anti-clamp. I love the anti-clamp. So, open it. Place the device in it. I just want to point out that the photos they use on the iPhone SE 2020 guide are an iPhone 6, maybe a 6S, for the anti-clamp, because they're practically the same phone, but it has a headphone jack, and I find that funny. Anyway, it's a good thing I'm doing this on my own phone, because I have not used the anti-clamp before. It's a very different way of opening, and I do not want to break a customer's phone. I highly doubt I'll break it, but there's always a possibility when you try something that you haven't done before. So, let's see, squeeze. Yep. Okay, now lock it. And twist half a turn. I am going to actually undo that now and add some heat to it because I do not wish to use the eye opener. The eye opener is much less fun than a heating pad, to be honest. So, as you can see, the heating pad is up here. Let's toast the phone. Screen down. And it's toasting now. And Jasper has sent a lot more UR Kenups with more coming through constantly. Great to see you are enjoying it. Yeah, great to see. Yes, Jasper, you are Kenoff. Great to see. Great to see. Come on. I'm very impatient. Basically, you're just gonna leave it till it gets to 80 degrees. Let's see. What is the next step? Then you grab a pick and slice and dice. Oh wait, I already grabbed a pick. Okay. Okay, it's just about hot enough now. So, that is extremely hot. I just burned myself. Yeah, let us get back to okay, I'm gonna have to act quickly here so I do not burn myself because this phone is toasty and it will lose heat fast. Okay, gotta press down here, apply a bit of pressure so the suction cups can stick to both sides. And then why isn't it locking? Okay, and then lock it into place. Why won't it lock? That's slightly concerning to me. Have I done it too tight? There, now it'll lock. Okay, perfect. That isn't going anywhere. So now we will just turn it 1/4 turn at a time, like the instructions say. And then you gotta leave it for a whole minute. And then you just turn it another quarter turn until it creates enough of a gap. So it says let the anti-clamp do the work for you, which is great because it makes my life a whole lot easier when repairing, apparently. Just got to be very careful here not to. Yep, I mean it is lifting. I just got to be careful not to break anything. So we are going to turn it again, another quarter turn, and then wait another minute until we get a gap. This is the entire process. It is not too much of a process, but it is a process nonetheless. Come on, I'm getting impatient now, but it's okay. Oh, it's starting to work, by the way. If you look very closely, you can see a bit of a gap beginning to form at the bottom there, with some of the adhesive showing. So, I mean, it's working. It's definitely working. What time is it now? Okay, let's give it another quarter turn. Just want to get enough of a gap that it's actually workable. Oh, it's starting to be visible now, more visible. I am happy with the amount of adhesive that the original Refurbished has used. That might be because it's the original. That might be because they did a good job. But to be honest, I appreciate that they used high quality adhesive that is not only holding the phone in place, but might actually keep water out. Would I trust this phone to be as water resistant as it was when it was brand new? Absolutely not. Used phones, refurbished phones, do not trust them to be water resistant. Old phones even, like if it's been 10 months, do not trust it to be water resistant as day one, right? But the fact that if you drop this thing into like the sink while doing the dishes, it may have survived. I can't tell for sure, and now that I've opened it, definitely wouldn't. But I will say that there is a full possibility that it could have survived. And we are nearly at an opening point now, which is great. Yeah, I am very appreciative of that. So, come on, hurry up. We are getting to an opening point, as you can see by the gap at the bottom of the display there. The adhesive is starting to peel. Now, at this point is where I would normally use the eye opener to add just a bit of extra heat to it. Because the phone is starting to cool down a bit, but that is okay for our instance. If it does start, okay, I need to open a bit more before I can fit the pick in there properly, but luckily it's been another minute, so we can turn it another quarter turn. Oh, we're getting there. See, this is so much easier than the other method of like trying to use the suction cup that's included and then half pulling it up. It was extremely difficult compared to this. So I would rate this a much better solution. And now I reckon I actually could get into the iPhone, which is great. Oh, whoa. Okay. The eye opener has really bent the display to one side, which I do not like. I might relieve some of the pressure a bit, because it's kind of bending the display, and I don't appreciate that very much. Do not appreciate the attacking of my display. Now, which way is this iPhone intended to open? We will find out. Okay, it's definitely not intended to open this way. It's intended to open that way. Why is it so curvy? Okay, the seal's still holding it in a bit. Okay, the clips look like they haven't unclipped on this side, which is slightly suspicious. I'm not going to force the pick in there to avoid breaking the phone. However, what I will do is unlock it, then reattempt from the other side. And with a bit of heat as well. Add some more heat to it. Just a bit, not too long. Warm up the phone again, nice and toasty. And now that the phone is already warmed up again because it's at 80 degrees of heat, we are just going to grab the phone and put it in the eye opener again. And now same thing as before, lock it. I just clipped those clips back in, unfortunately, while putting the eye opener back on. But we're just going to lift and wait a minute and lift again. Okay. So what time is it now? It is, yeah, I'm just using the clock. Ah, someone says, James, what is the point of the eye opener? The eye opener basically means that it is a whole lot easier to open the phone up, because traditionally you would have to grab a suction cup, press down, and pull up at the same time. You'd have to get your thumb in, press down with your thumb, but also pull up on the whole screen at the same time to undo the clips, which not only increased the rate of damage for the phones, but also made it a whole lot more difficult. And you'd have to pull up and slice the adhesive at the same time. It was a whole lot more work. This basically holds the phone with the suction cup pulling it apart, so that way I have my hands free to slice the adhesive with a pick. It just makes it a whole lot easier. And Jasper says it reveals perspectives and dimensions to those otherwise ignorant. Okay. Come on. It's nearly there. Yeah, it is interesting. These phones are, well, it was, I mean, replacing the screen on a phone has not been easy for a long time. And that is partially Apple's fault. That is partially Apple's fault. They make good products, but they're at fault here. Partially, not 100%. But now the fact that it's not unclipping on this side is slightly concerning to me. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be unclipping, but it is not. Let's just toast that one side like that to see if adhesive is holding it in. Hopefully it is not being held in with adhesive, but we will find out. Okay, let's go again. Another, well, and it only wants to open on this side for some reason. It's back to where we started, except more difficult. Since that is the case, I'm going to unlock it and continue the best way I know how to, which would be to remove the eye opener. Go back to the close-up scene. Okay. Okay, it needs more heat, that's why. That's my prediction, because it's not coming out due to the heat. So let's give it another round on the heating pad. And while that's heating, I'm going to study these instructions very carefully, because I do not. Okay, so you're meant to lift from the bottom up, and then open the screen from the volume button side to the power button side. So I was right, it does open like a book. I might place it again once more in the eye opener, but with the suction cups more towards the left side of the screen, so it hopefully unhooks the clips on this side, which refuse to come out for some reason. I do not want to force it, because that could result in me breaking the screen, and while I probably would have to replace the screen eventually due to me not using a case in my phone, I would not want to replace the screen because of a repair mistake, just personally. So, let us do our next attempt at opening it shortly. Come on, nice and toasty. Screen down, maybe. Get all that heat into the display. Make it nice and warm. Okay, yep, so there, okay, so basically cut along the adhesive. The instructions on iFix say just cut along the adhesive, lift up the base, and then cut along the top. Oh, okay. So now is time for our next attempt. So, going to place it here, not centered, but on this side. The bottom pick is also, the bottom suction cup also needs to be uncentered there. Press it down into place, so they're nice and tight. And then lock it and quarter turn and wait. And then another quarter turn and wait. That's basically the process at this point, is quarter turn and wait. Now the adhesive on this side is still very strong, so I have to be extremely careful. So as soon as the opening is large enough to get the pick in, I will use that opening, but for now it is not. So just have to wait a bit longer. Come on, nearly there. I mean, you can see now that I removed that bottom adhesive that it's sort of easily coming apart there. Okay, another quarter turn. Oh, this side it looks like it's getting a bit better on the stuck side. Yeah, it's definitely doing better on this corner this time. Let's get a closer look at that corner. Yeah, it's definitely getting more on this side. It's actually opening now, which is the main thing. Give it another quarter turn. Oop, and the right side opened again. That is not good. I need the left side to open. See, if I rush this, it's going to crack, and I do not want to do that. So I'm going to be very careful when inserting the opening pick along here. Oh, and just slicing that adhesive a bit brought it right out. You got to be very careful when doing that. See, there's a metal frame here. I just used that to guide myself to not break the phone, because breaking the phone is not the goal. The goal is to keep the phone in one piece currently. This is not one of those tech destruction channels. It's quite the opposite. However, I feel like I'm going to break it at this corner. I honestly do. I predict that towards this top part is where the crack will occur, if there is to be a crack. So please do not be surprised if I crack this phone. Okay, I'm going to reduce the eye opener a bit because it's getting too far open, so it's not really even. Oh yikes, that is. Okay, that top needs to be heated up a bit more. I wish I had heated up the eye opener. I need a microwave that is more readily available to use the the eye opener here, sorry. Quick tech destruction, yeah. So the eye opener, sorry, I totally misread your question earlier, James. So this is the anti-clamp, which makes it easy. The eye opener is just essentially a heat pack for the phone. Basically, it's like a heating pad, but flexible, and you heat it up in the microwave. So I normally use it when I've gotten this far in a repair. There's like that little spot that would require me to remove the clamp to heat up properly. I'd put the eye opener on it, which would just make my life easier. When you're beginning a repair, it's a lot more difficult to use. I like the heating pad. It makes my life so much easier, but it's nice to have both. Quick Tech Destruction would be a great name if I crack this phone. But it does need more heat at the top, which means I'm going to have to unlock it. And place it back on the heating pad. I'll just heat the top up if possible. Avoid the rest of the phone getting hot, because the less heat you put on a phone, the better. This isn't realistically gonna damage it, but you know, I just don't want to burn my hands is actually an important thing as well. Is it hot yet? No, it is not. Okay. Come on, toast, toast, toast. Nearly there. Nearly toasted. Oh, that's toasted. Okay. Okay, these corners are a bit peculiar. I do not. Okay, I'm gonna read the iFixit instructions again. I do not appreciate the idea of breaking the phone. Okay. Okay, I've done step 11. Lift the bottom of the display. Gently pull up on. Yep. Remove the suction cup. And then, yeah. So, slide an opening pick underneath the display and around the top left corner along the edge. Yep, so I was doing it right. I'm going to add a massive heat wave and then attempt it again. I want to be very slow and careful when doing this. I do not wish to break the phone. Come on, we are nearly there at getting the display open. Okay, it needs more heat. Gonna leave it for a whole 2 minutes on the heating pad. Come on. Turns out I'm not gonna leave it for a whole 2 minutes because I am impatient. Um, Nearly there. Oh yeah, okay, heating it up definitely makes that adhesive softer. I can feel it, but I've got to be so careful at this part here. Why? Okay, 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 that started to come out, but it's more difficult than it should be. So I'm just being absolutely like, I probably could have done this faster, but I don't want to risk breaking the phone as much as possible. Oh look, my camera's about to go flat. That is not good. Okay. Yep. I mean, it's working on the most technical level, but certainly not the ideal way to do it. Yep, it definitely needs a bit more heat on that corner to come out properly. Oof. Yeah, better safe than sorry, exactly, right? Like these screens, I mean, the screens are still expensive for these phones, even though they're not very high quality screens. Um, yeah, it's so cracking it would not be the ideal thing to do right now, as much as I am getting impatient with this phone, to be honest. This is the longest I've ever taken to do the phone opening, which is surprising. There's still adhesive that hasn't been cut along the sides here. I don't think it's really affecting the top. I have an idea. This is a bad idea. I would never do this on a phone that was not mine. Okay, yeah, that's actually a terrible idea. Not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. Not going to do that. I was going to grab the suction cup and just try pluck up the top, but that is not the greatest of ideas at all. That is a terrible idea, actually. Come on. I'm just shocked by the top of this phone, which refuses to give way. Um, Based on the iFixit article, I might not be sticking the pick into the phone enough. but I'd be concerned about breaking it. Especially since this left side's been rigid all day. I really want to be careful with it, but the fact that it's taken me 40 minutes to remove a screen is extremely disappointing. Oh, I mean, it unclipped, and it doesn't look cracked, so I'm calling that a win. But it's extremely glued along the top here. Wow. And it came undone like that. Okay. Perfect. No ribbon cables look to have been broken yet, which is a good thing. Yeah, so, um, actually, I'm kind of curious. Let's find out if I broke the screen or not without putting it back on. Just let's turn it on. There are no visible cracks. And I didn't break it. It's not broken. That's a good thing. Well, I have to turn it back off now. It's not broken, which is exactly what I want to see. And let's turn it back off. I cannot believe that the solution was that simple the whole time. Just put it further in. Oops, did I crack the back? No, I did not. Okay. Yeah, let's go. That is how I feel as well. Extreme celebration right now. So, could I do this without an iFixit guide? Yes. Would I do this on a customer's device without an iFixit guide? No. Because even though I believe I know what I'm doing, I like to have confirmation that I know what I'm doing. So let's just disconnect the battery. I mean, the battery looks to be original. Everything in here, on the surface level at least, doesn't look to have been replaced, which is nice. You know, the battery still have the pull tabs. So in terms of is boost repair any good, I would say I'm liking it so far, to be honest with you. Like, maybe I just got lucky and they didn't repair this device at all. But if they did repair anything, I mean, I don't notice it. So let's just disconnect the battery and see, because I'm going to have to replace that anyway, since it's so terrible. Let's just see what it's like. Okay, screws are just Phillips. Let me see. Yep, just Phillips. Okay. Where did the screwdriver go? Here. Okay, the problem with these motorized screwdrivers is that sometimes they don't have enough torque for the screwed in screws. However, in this case, it actually does seem to be working quite well on these internal screws. I don't think that's because of the repairers. I think it's just the lucky. Because sometimes it works great, and other times there's not enough torque on the automatic, well, motorized screwdriver. And there goes the battery cover. Keeping your screws organized is important, by the way. Let's just zoom back in. There goes the battery cover. Now let's disconnect the battery. Use the point. Yeah, battery connector. So the first thing you do is always disconnect the battery, because if the battery is connected, there's a high possibility of things going wrong, and things can short out, and you do not want that to happen. Which way does that go up? It bends that way. Okay, I'll have to disconnect this quickly. Come on, nearly there. Am I missing something here? Or am I just blind? Okay, there. And now we disconnect the display. Ooh, I'm not going to disconnect the... Okay, Sven just said, "What's up? Just rocked up. What is a Boost Mobile?" Boost Mobile is a carrier, so you got like you got, you know, in Australia you got Telstra and Optus. In America you got Sprint. I think Sprint's still a thing. T-Mobile, Verizon. Boost is just one of the smaller carriers. I'm not sure what countries they operate in, but I know they operate in Australia, where I am. And they have sold these phones as unlocked, and it is unlocked, by the way, unlocked prepaid refurbished phones. So let's see the next part of the guide. I'm just going to hold this display here for the sake of this, because we do not really need to take the... Actually, do you know what? Let's remove the entire display. Three 1.3mm Phillips screws. Well, that's easy. Whoa, that screw nearly left us. Is that top one part of it? This top one is part of it. See, that's why you have an iFixer guide. Extremely easy to lose, and you have to be quite careful with them. That is why I am being so careful to not lose these screws, because if I do, it'll be extremely difficult. You are welcome, by the way. I just saw your other message. Okay. Realistically, I should keep these covers with the screws, because losing track of these is extremely annoying. And now I can just uncover disconnect the display completely. And I mean, this has an Apple logo on it. This phone doesn't have Face ID, so replacing the earpiece speaker wouldn't, I think, break anything. Touch ID has not been replaced because it still works, which is nice. This display, I mean, I think it's an Apple original display. It's not as good as an OLED, but it's not as good as the display on the 14 Pro Max, but that is to be expected for a phone that costs... How much less is this? this phone legitimately costs 12 times less than my 14 Pro Max did. So, it is fully expected that the display does not look as good, the camera is not as good. But let's continue digging through this phone for now. What else is there to have a look at in here? I mean, on the surface level, everything seems good. Like, someone's been in here. I'm not sure if that was me or someone else, but you can tell that there's fingerprints in here. Totally could have been me, by the way. But that is seemingly the only sign of this phone being opened before, which is surprising to me. Now I'm not gonna fully seal this phone back up because I am going to repair the battery and apply a new adhesive seal before I use the phone again. However, that is not the correct tool for that. I'm going to replace this adhesive seal because, well, it's been melted now and they're not reusable. Well, the camera has gone flat. Okay. I'm going to recharge. I'm going to replace this battery later, which could possibly be next week's stream, actually. Me replacing this battery and putting a new adhesive seal on, because if I was correct and this phone had not been repaired, there is a real possibility that this adhesive is no longer water resistant. And I mean, I don't plan on taking this phone in water, but I want to have the best chances possible in case I do something stupid and accidentally drop it in the sink or something, or if I use it in the rain. So, at the moment I'm just trying to remove any excess adhesive because that makes it more difficult to put on the new adhesive. And I'm just going to talk, but I mean, overall, based on this sample size of 1, which is not scientific at all, I am quite happy with Boost Mobile Refurbished. Like, they didn't remove any of the functionality of the phone. All the original functionality is there, True Tone, Touch ID. The battery health isn't reporting problems, although it's a very low health battery. I would factor in the cost of a battery replacement. You see, with QuickTech Repair Refurbished, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, the conflict of interest here. With QuickTech Repair Refurbished, the battery would not be on 83% health. Like, that would not be considered sellable realistically, because 83% health, like I said, this phone started having problems where it would shut off when I drew a lot of power from, like, opening a bunch of apps quickly, or switching tasks quickly, or trying to use the camera. It would just shut off thinking it was flat because the battery is old and cannot provide enough power. So a QuickTech Repair refurbished phone would not have 83% health. However, once you replace the battery, which this may have been why they didn't replace the battery, once you replace the battery, it comes up with a thing saying battery cannot verify if it's a genuine Apple part, even if it is a genuine Apple battery. That's just a thing that all iPhone XS and later do. That is a fact of life. However, I personally believe that, and I know because I'm going to do this to my own iPhone SE here, I would rather a phone that says the battery has been replaced by a third party, which would be myself. I'd rather a phone that says the battery has been replaced by a third party whenever I open the settings app to a phone that turns off mid-usage. At least that's what I think is better. So that is always up to personal preference, obviously. Definitely do not want that battery to reconnect while I'm poking around in here. But yeah, honestly, I would consider this to be an acceptable, usable phone. You know, it's not got anything terribly wrong with it. This is a sample size of 1, so it's not definitive in any way. But if I was after just like the cheapest iPhone that runs iOS 17, I would absolutely not be complaining right now with this thing, because it was $250 Australian, which is very, very cheap. You know, if you think about other 250 Australian dollar phones like the Galaxy A series, the $250 variants of those phones they are bad. They are so slow. This iPhone SE is so much better than those $250 variants of the A series. So, to be honest, a refurbished phone at the price points as low as 250 Australian dollars, I would say refurbished is definitely better than brand new, because you can get a much, much better phone for the same amount of money. Now, yes, the display, it has more bezels than those Samsung A series phones, but I would much rather have a phone that doesn't feel so painfully slow that I want to throw it at a wall every time I try and use it. That has more bezels than a phone that is painfully slow but has less bezel. So yes, the phone does not have the prettiest display, but the red color is absolutely stunning, and to be honest, for the price, like, you're not going to get better performance than an A13 chip. It is, I mean, yeah, it's not, like, I cannot say it's the same as an A16 chip or the upcoming A17 chip, but it is not by any means a slouch. Like, if you were to compare this to other phones similar in the price range, I think you'd be blown away by this thing. So now, we've got rid of most of the adhesive. It's looking a lot cleaner, not all of it. But yeah, so I believe next week's stream will be me replacing this battery and getting the phone back together into a usable state, because at the moment, battery is so bad that it's unusable. But for now, I'm just going to sort these into a nice organized system and then end the stream. So here is a organization box. I'm going to put the phone in here. When the battery arrives, there's space to put the battery in here. And there's also space for the screws and the various covers on the phone. So the display, I'm going to bend that battery control up. And just for now, I'm going to, because I do not wish for it to reconnect while I am not inside the phone. I'm just going to bend that slightly out of the way. There's no real place for me to put the display though, so I can just go here. Sitting on top there. That is probably a sin. I want to make sure that there's nothing that this could short out on, so I'm just going to make sure the display is on top of the metal. Yep, okay, perfect. It's not touching anything internal, and the battery is not connecting. Perfect. Okay, that is safe now. Let me just close that over. Then in here, you see, for I'm of course going to store the SIM ejector tool in there. These boxes are super handy, by the way. You can just place things in. And now I'm going to use the magnet tool with my iFixit Protect toolkit, not sponsored, by the way. iFixit makes some of the best tools on the market. just going to sort the screws into steps. So first is the base screws, then display cover screws, and battery screws. Now to remove the battery, probably going to need the Taptic engine to be removed if the adhesive stickers break. However, that is next week's stream. So next week I will be replacing the battery in this phone, reapplying the adhesive, and then putting it back together ready for full-time use. Because the only thing that is bad about the Boost Mobile refurbished phone, at least in my sample size of one, is the battery was not acceptable. The health was way too low. So, aside from the battery, I believe that I got a good phone. And next week on stream, I will be fixing that battery, fixing the one shortcoming, and seeing how the phone performs. So, thank you all for watching this stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next week.